It's a tough day for a lot of us, isn't it? Just heard the news. Bob Weir, one of the founding members and the iconic rhythm guitarist of the Grateful Dead, has passed away at 78.
Oh, James, I know my phone's been buzzing all morning with friends reaching out. It's surreal, 78, it feels like he was still so present, still touring, still creating. It's a huge loss for the music world and for so many of us who grew up with his music.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about the Grateful Dead and immediately you picture Jerry, of course, but Bob was right there, the other half of that core sound. His rhythm guitar wasn't just strumming chords, it was this intricate, almost lead-like weaving that defined so much of their improvisational magic. He carved out a completely unique space in rock guitar.
Totally. People sometimes underestimate the rhythm guitarist, but Bob Weir, he was the architecture. He wasn't just holding down the fort, he was building new wings of the house in real time with Jerry. That interplay, the way they listened to each other, it was like a conversation. And Bob's voice, too, it was so distinctive. I can hear him now singing Sugar Magnolia or Estimated Prophet.
Yeah, his voice was it had this lived-in quality. It told stories. And you mentioned those songs. He wasn't just a guitarist, he was a significant songwriter for the band. Cassidy, Truckin, Sugar Magnolia, Estimated Prophet, these are all cornerstone Dead tracks where his fingerprints are all over the lyrical and musical composition.
Right? And think about the energy he brought to the stage. Even into his later years with Dead and Company or Rat Dog, he had this youthful, almost mischievous energy. He'd be bouncing around, eyes twinkling, just lost in the music. You could tell it wasn't just a job, it was his lifeblood.
That's what always struck me too. He truly embodied the spirit of the music and the band. The story of him meeting Jerry Garcia, New Year's Eve 1963, just a few blocks from where I used to live in Palo Alto. Jerry was playing banjo and Bob was just a kid, 15 or 16. They just clicked. It's like destiny, isn't it?
It really is. Can you imagine that moment? Two strangers, one older, one younger, just stumbling upon each other and creating one of the most enduring, genre-defying bands in history. And Bob was barely out of high school, He just dove headfirst into that world. It speaks to his courage and his innate musicality.
He always seemed like the wild card, in a way. The Rolling Stone piece mentioned he was expelled from multiple schools. He had this restless energy, this unconventional streak that I think perfectly complemented Jerry's more introspective, almost paternal vibe. Together, they made this incredible yin and yang.
Oh, absolutely. And that unconventional streak fed directly into the Dead sound. It wasn't about sticking to the rules. It was about exploration, pushing boundaries, seeing where the music could take them. And Bob was right there, often leading the charge into those weirder, more psychedelic territories.
Exactly. His rhythm guitar, for instance, wasn't just strumming. He'd often voice chords in unexpected ways, using inversions and extensions that made the harmony much richer and more complex. It's something guitarists still study today, trying to figure out how he made it all sound so fluid and effortless.
He was a master of counterpoint, really. While Jerry was soloing, Bob was laying down this intricate tapestry of sound beneath him, almost a second voice. It wasn't just a backing track, it was an integral part of the improvisation. And his stage presence, too. He was always so engaged, so present.
One thing I always admired about him was his dedication to continuing the music after Jerry's passing. It would have been easy to just step back, but he formed Rat Dog, then Further, and of course Dead and Company. He kept that flame alive, introduced the music to new generations.
That's really key, isn't it? He understood that the music was bigger than any one member, even Jerry. He felt a responsibility to the songs, to the fans, to the whole ethos of the Grateful Dead. And he did it with such grace and passion. Seeing him on stage with John Mayer and Dead and Company, it was like a bridge across time.
It was. And he looked so happy doing it. You could tell he was still in love with playing music. And he never stopped evolving either. His guitar playing, his singing, even his approach to leadership in these various iterations of the band, it all seemed to mature and deepen over time.
Definitely. I remember seeing Rat Dog a few times, and it wasn't just a Grateful Dead cover band, it was its own thing, with its own sound and energy, but with that unmistakable Bob Weir signature. He always had a way of bringing in incredible musicians and letting them shine, too. He was a true band leader.
Speaking of his presence, he was always so charismatic. He had this twinkle in his eye, a wry sense of humor. I remember reading an interview where he talked about the early days, the chaos, the freedom, and he always seemed to revel in it, not just endure it.
Oh, he had that rock and roll spirit for sure. But beneath it all, you could tell he was deeply thoughtful, profoundly connected to the music. He wasn't just performing, he was communing. And the way he interacted with the crowd, even in huge stadiums, it felt intimate.
That's the magic of the Dead, isn't it? It always felt like a communal experience, and Bob was a huge part of creating that atmosphere. He knew the audience was part of the show, part of the jam. It was a shared journey.
And his lyrics, too, so many of them just resonated with people. The grass ain't greener, the wine ain't sweeter, either side of the hill, just gotta poke around. Simple, but profound. They spoke to the human condition, to wandering, to seeking. They became anthems for a generation, and for generations after.
Absolutely. He captured that feeling of being on the road, of looking for something, of finding community along the way. His songs often had this wistful, contemplative quality. Even when they were upbeat, there was always a little bit of longing, a little bit of wonder.
Yeah, like Cassidy. It's such a beautiful, haunting song. And then you have Estimated Prophet with that incredible, almost reggae-infused rhythm and his vocal delivery. He could shift gears so effortlessly, from gentle introspection to full-on rock and roll energy.
And that's the thing, he wasn't just one type of musician. He embraced so many different styles and incorporated them into his playing. Blues, folk, country, jazz, rock, it was all in there, blended into something uniquely Bob Weir.
Which again perfectly mirrored the Grateful Dead's philosophy. They weren't a blues band or a rock band or a folk band, they were all of it and more. And Bob was crucial to that sonic tapestry. He filled out so much of the sound, especially live.
It's hard to imagine the Dead's sound without that distinctive, driving yet intricate rhythm work he provided. He was the anchor, but an anchor that could dance and sway with the currents, never holding them back but always providing a foundation.
Yeah, he was like the perfect foil. Jerry's lead guitar could soar to incredible heights because Bob was always there, providing that rich harmonic and rhythmic bed for him to improvise over. It was a true partnership.
And even in his later years, his playing remained so vibrant. I remember seeing Dead & Company a few years ago, and he was just phenomenal. Still experimenting, still pushing himself, still having fun. It was inspiring to watch.
He really did represent that idea that music keeps you young, keeps you vital. He just seemed to feed off the energy of the crowd and the music itself. He never stopped being a performer, a creator.
And now he's gone. It's just another chapter closing on an incredible era of music. But his legacy, the music he made, the joy he brought to millions, that will absolutely live on forever.
Absolutely. His music is woven into the fabric of so many lives. For me, the Grateful Dead and Bob's part in it, it's the soundtrack to my youth, to road trips, to moments of pure bliss. It's hard to imagine a world without the possibility of seeing him play live again, but the recordings, the memories, they're indelible.
He left us with so much. A catalog of songs, a blueprint for improvisation, a spirit of adventure. It's a sad day, but also a day to celebrate a life extraordinarily well lived, dedicated entirely to music.
Couldn't agree more, James. A true legend. Rest in peace, Bobby. Thank you for the music, for the journeys, for everything.
Indeed, a life well played. We'll miss you, Bob.